Hey folks, welcome to another day, another unboxing. I got two today live, so if you're watching this now, stay tuned for another one that's, I think, more exciting, potentially. Depends on what you're interested in. This is the Cat S61. This is a super rugged smartphone with thermal imaging built in. One of my most popular videos on my channel, I'll link it at the end of this, is for the Cat S60, the predecessor to this phone. Also a rugged phone with thermal imaging. So this is the newest version of that with completely updated specs in every way. So I'm going to unbox it. Let's have a look at it. As you can see, it has thermal imaging by FLIR, and it's made by Bullet, the company in the UK who makes the Cat phones. Nothing really per se to do other than branding with the heavy machinery that we all know and love. Nothing on here, and there you go. You saw most of the stuff. S61, you can kind of see what it looks like. That little bump is where the thermal imaging device is located, and there's a bunch of info here, and you can see some of the specs. There you go. So without further ado, let's unbox this thing, shall we? All right, here we go. Dun, da, da, da. There's nothing inside here. Oh, and look, there's the phone. Now this is a big phone, right? Obviously, because it's mil, spec, so it's capable of resisting all kinds of abuse. It's IP69, which means it can be sprayed down with a hose. It's kind of crazy. And mil spec, I think it's 81G, which basically means, or 810G, which means that it can be really shock resistant. Class 2 laser product. The big sticker on the back, the reason for that is this sensor here is a laser beam that lets you measure distances. So you can measure things like you can use it as a measuring tape, basically. And then here in the front, you can see the little illustration. Do not get it wet when the SIM slot is open, but you're okay if the SIM slot's closed. So here's the kind of SOS key, what they call, which is like a programmable key for emergencies. And then you've got the micro SD and SIM slots here on the side. And then you've got the power lock key and volume up, volume down buttons. And then at the bottom you have 3 physical hardware buttons and no fingerprint reader. I had a conversation with the folks at Cat about this, because when I reviewed the Cat S30, which is their mid-range phone, or S31, I can't remember which one, for Pocket now recently, they were like, I complained about the lack of fingerprint reader. They're like, well, the people who use this phone usually are wearing gloves. They're construction workers and, linesmen and whatever. And I was like, still, this doesn't give you any excuses. You could put a fingerprint reader in the home button here that if people want to use, they use. If they don't want to use, they don't use, Now, on the front here, you can see the earpiece. And then, I don't know what this is. Looks like a little headphone logo. What the hell? I have no idea what that is. That doesn't make much sense. Then there's an 8 megapixel front-facing camera here. There's that bump for the thermal imaging. And as you can see, this is really rugged. It's made of machined aluminum, the whole frame. There's a little plastic cap at the bottom. But let me move this box out of the way so you can get a better view of this phone. So let me show you the edges. So on the left side, you've got the SIM and micro SD slot. See if I can get that out, because there you go. It's a little difficult. So you pull this out, and here's the SIM slot. And then there's another little thing you can pull out here, if I can get it, and that is the SD tray, if you want. You can see that. So right there's SD tray here, and it slides right back in here like this, and then you've got the SIM tray that's somehow attached to this piece. And as you can see, there's a gasket for water resistance here. This is some serious stuff. There you go. And then you get that SOS button. So this is the left-hand side. The bottom, you've got USB Type-C, which is a new thing. The last version had a micro USB port. Again, behind a gasket. And you got the speaker down here, which is waterproof. And then On the right hand side, I don't know what this is, we'll have to remove it. There's a power lock key which is ridged, so you can feel it, and volume up and volume down. At the top you get that bump wherein the imaging sensor lies, and then you've got this other little port which is the headphone jack, right? Also a gasket, water resistant, this is serious stuff. I gave you a tour of the front, but I didn't tell you about the display. This is a 5.2 inch 1080p display. Huge improvement over the 4.7 inch 720p display of the predecessor. So much more real estate finally. Large bezels, I don't know if you can see them, but let me turn it on so you can see a little better. Those bezels are huge, and the reason for that is, you know, you want shock protection. So I hope it's charged enough to turn on. It's not turning on. I hate it when they send you review units that are not ready to go with a 40% charge. Yeah, I think this phone is needing a charge, folks. So anyway, I won't be able to show you the display, but let's look at the back. Okay, so I showed you the kind of laser measurement system here. It can measure up to 8 meters, I guess. That's why there's this logo, because this is a laser beam. The cat logo is etched in. This is kind of like a rubberized back. Feels really nice. You got the 2 camera systems. So this is a 16 megapixel main camera, and you've got dual color, dual LED flash, and then you've got the FLIR thermal imaging camera right here. And you can see the FLIR branding there. So that's the phone in a nutshell. I'm going to try to turn it on again just in case maybe I didn't push it long enough. But I got a feeling this needs to be charged, folks. So let's remove the screen protector, because I know you love the sound of this. If I can catch the edge of it. Wow. I have nails. They're not really long, but I can't seem to get this at all. Yeah, I'm going to give up on this, folks. All right, so there's this sticker. Let's see if I can get that taken care of. Maybe. Wow. Who puts stickers on phones that are impossible to remove and or might leave a mark? Yeah, this one is, if I pulled on it fast, it would definitely tear. So, okay, so there we go. And then we've got the that weird little white one on the side. I don't know what that's about. So let's have a look, shall we? Some sort of vents. Maybe this is for basically to stabilize the the pressure when you get this in a deep, deep underwater, deeply underwater. I don't think how it can go super deep because it's on IP69. But the other thing it could be is the air quality sensor, because this has an air quality sensor, a particle sensor, particle meter, or whatever you want to call it. So it can measure particles, like things like mold, dust, pollen, etc., like diesel exhaust particulates, etc. So in terms of hardware, there's a large battery in here. It's, I think, like a 4,500 milliamp hour battery or something huge like that. It's pretty awesome. There is a Snapdragon 630, 4 gigs of RAM, 64 gigs of built-in storage, of course, micro SD expansion. This is a mid-range phone, but it's an expensive phone. It's a $1,000 phone, right? Because you're paying for the ruggedness, obviously. So be aware of that. And that's really it. Let's have a look at what's in the box, shall we? So there is a little divider, like with nothing in it, and then of course USB type A charger. I don't know if this is a fast charger. And then we've got USB type A to USB type C cord, which is exactly what you'd expect. And then there's like some paperwork in here. Let me see what it says. We've got limited warranty statement, not very exciting. And here's a quick start guide for your Cat S61. And it's in multiple languages: Portuguese, English, Latin American Spanish, and Canadian French, of course. So again, plug it in, put your SIM card in. I love that it's done with just illustrations, and that's it. So I'm going to try this out once I charge it up. Kind of excited because I like rugged phones. They're interesting. I'm not sure I'd spend $1,000 for that. I'm not like an engineer on a you know, in a construction site all day that has to worry about my phone getting crushed or immersed in a huge pool or something like that. But those of you who might be careless and have a deep budget and don't mind having a mid-range phone can probably consider this thing. I mean, it's interesting. I'm glad it exists. That's one of the things that makes Android so cool, is that we have these different phones like the BlackBerry Key 2 and this Cat S61. And so there you go. S61, IP68. It's interesting it says 68 because on the specs it says 69 and 68. I think 68 is immersion, 69 is spray. So, and mil-spec, of course. So stay tuned for more videos. Remember that this channel supports my podcast. Subscribe to the channel, like the video below, do all that good stuff. But also subscribe to the podcast, mobiletechpodcast.com. You can find me everywhere on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Overcast, Stitcher, Slacker, TuneIn Radio, everywhere. And you should subscribe, okay? Tell your friends about the channel. Tell your friends about the podcast. I think you'll enjoy it. And I'll be talking about this phone on the podcast and give you my thoughts once I put it through its paces and use it for a little while. All right, folks, stay tuned for more videos. Again, if you're watching this live, give it another 5-10 minutes and I will do another live unboxing, which I think is of a phone that will be a little more exciting to a broader audience, okay? So stay tuned for that and I'll talk to you later. Cheers.